Greetings everyone, my name is Rayvenwing and welcome back to Dragon Homes, the series where I will be building a big structure or series of structures for each of the 8 dragon types in the Dragon Mounts Legacy mod. Today I've got a couple of things that I want to work on. First of all, I'd like to build up each of the corners of the structure and at least start the base of the center structure. And after that's done, I'd love to get a start on the farms and interiors that'll go inside those corner areas. And I've got a pretty tough job ahead of me, so I'm gonna get started. That's one down, but the other 3 will just be copies of the first, so why don't we just fill in the blanks? Oh, and we can't forget the middle. And of course we'll need a way to get in, so if we stop and stare right here, perfect. Here is where I will be putting a few different farms. I have plans for all 4 corners, some of them being farms I've built before, some I haven't. But one farm in particular would be genuinely extremely useful to have as I get into further detailing of this build. And it's one I've never built before in survival. So, that of course does mean that I have to figure out how this thing will fit. And it is, it's not small. It should be fine. So... okay, so the tallest part of this farm is 7 blocks tall. This is 7 blocks tall perfectly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But one of the edges is a bit shorter. And so I might actually be, so I should be able to actually scoot this over by 1. Just for clarity's sake. Just gonna these like that so that you can more easily visually see the height there. So that should be correct. Hopefully. 3, 4, 5. So this is going to be a little tight in every dimension, which I fully recognize. It will be fine. Should totally be completely fine. I did account for some wiggle room. Worst comes to worst, this will just be a farm and not much of a room. And also that door might not be usable. Not to mention that I currently plan to have 2 farms in here. We'll see how that goes. Let's get this thing built. I got this farm from a tutorial. The link is in the description. I did try it in a creative world. And it seems to work, which is good, because the first one I tried didn't work. I already feel like I'm doing this wrong, and I haven't even placed any blocks, and just, there's little markings. Ah! I know what I did wrong. I know it. I realized my mistake. I've realized my error. This then it would be here, which would mean that this would actually be here, and not here. Gosh dang it. So you would be here, and here, and here. And you would be here. Okay, is that right now? Oh, it isn't. I need to show it this way. Oh wait, no it isn't. It isn't. Basically what I'm confused about is because I have this outer box to indicate, like, the farm needs to fit within this box. But the tutorial also has a box, which technically is this line. And so I keep on counting it with the outer line. But that's not what I need to count it by. So from here, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But it's actually from here, so it's 1, 2. So you need to be at that. Okay. Have I done the first step correctly? That's just the setup. Okay. Let's start actually placing blocks. Let's see if we can actually build something. What I meant to say is that the first step is to dig these out. So now there's nice convenient platforms underneath. First thing placed. Feels so accomplished. Also, I genuinely didn't have any idea of what block to use as, like, the structure block. So I'm using wood, which is an interesting choice. There's a lot of them in this, and I'm realizing that wood might have been a mistake. The first two and the last three of these things are lost. That is on fire. Good. I get away with putting her first. Otherwise, that's gonna be a problem. Great. If it's necessary to take those end caps away, I will. But I'm concerned about this entire thing. Hopefully the end things are fine. Okay. That burns. Super fun little exciting little experiment here. How? These are waterlogged, so presumably they'll be fine. Yeah, I kind of did have the thought of using wood blocks as building blocks in redstone. Might not be super smart, especially when I know there's lava involved in this farm. It's like, I don't think the lava comes into contact with any of the wood. It'll be fine. Hopefully it'll work. Otherwise I'll have to go through and replace the jungle wood with something else. It's on fire again. Ah! Thing is, it's not even the farm materials burning, it's the roof being a walkway. We'll deal with that later. Let me finish this farm. Seems to work, but it is on fire again. Ooh, that's pretty fast. There. Nice. Okay. So it works. So on the positive side of things, it does work. On the negative side of things, it does catch my walkway on fire. Okay. I'm gonna go and Google what amount of stuff you need to put between lava and wood. Because hilariously, despite building some of this farm out of wood, none of that is catching on fire. Because most of it's waterlogged or far enough away, I'm guessing. But even with the stone over top of this lava, it's still burning. So, I'm gonna go look up how to stop that. So that was a bit of an ordeal. As you can see, I've changed a couple of things to hopefully keep things from catching on fire. So we'll see if that actually helps. And on top of that, if you notice that my audio sounds a bit better now, you may not be surprised to learn that my audio recording software decided to listen to my laptop microphone rather than my actual microphone. So everything is kind of chaos, but hopefully it's better now and there'll be less fire. But we'll have to see. Anyway, I've also gone and removed my outline here and replaced one of these chests with a composter. These two composters actually feed back into the farm, and by switching this one from a chest, that lets me use this farm as a bone meal farm as well as a moss farm, which is awesome. Plus, theoretically, I could switch these back and forth as needed. By the way, this is how much moss I've gotten just for running this thing for a few minutes. So it does work, even if it's a little fiery. Now, I think that I mentioned this, but despite the size of this moss farm, I actually want to squeeze a second farm into this room, that being a mud farm. But this is one I've actually built before, and it happens to be pretty tiny, so I do have some hope that I'll be able to pull this off. Obviously, I'm not working with a whole lot of space, but I do have two options of where to put this thing. I either have here, kind of in this corner, yes, it is about that size, or I have here in this corner. So I'm going to try to decide whether I want to clump everything over here or spread it out a little bit. And once I make that decision, I'm just going to go build the mud farm. It's really easy. Again, it's from a tutorial, and again, the link will be in the description. So I decided where to put my mud farm. It's right there. See, I told you this thing is pretty small. The tutorial will be in the description, and it does work. You just have to put some dirt, dual wield like this, and then you place the dirt, it gets mudded, and you dig it. To go fast, you've just got to hold down both mouse buttons like this. And you've got mud. The only change I made to the design in the tutorial is I replaced this block here with obsidian because I kept on breaking the glass. For the moss farm, like I said, that also works. I sorted the items I got, but this is from just a few minutes of running it. Another important note, I did decide to turn fire tick off, because things kept catching on fire. I messed around a little trying to figure out how to fireproof this build, but considering the amount of flammable details I want to add, and the limited space, it was seeming more and more like an annoying limitation than anything challenging me to do something interesting. So I turned it off. Also, here's the command you use to do that if you didn't already know. But now, it's time to do the interior.
This whole room is just kind of a stone and tough box, but I've played around with some ideas and I know what I want to go with to make this look a little bit nicer. So let's do that and let's get this section finished. There it is, nice and decorated. I think I'm pretty happy with this one. I was working with a pretty limited space and some weird spacing with these farms and such. But I feel like this makes it look a lot warmer and nicer, and it adds some utility. I have a bunch of, as you can see over here, I have a whole area for storage. I've already started to move some of the moss into here. This is the practical stuff. I have my moss farm, of course, which will hopefully serve me well. I did break the moss farm. I'm not sure how I did it. Actually, I know exactly how I did it. That's a lie. I tried to replace these blocks with stairs to make it look a little nicer, but that made them not solid blocks, and so I think that broke it, if I'm understanding correctly. And so I fixed that, but it sort of still works. It actually functions, at least, instead of just fully not working. But it doesn't work very well anymore. So I did fix it, but only sorta, and I don't understand redstone well enough to be able to tell how to fully fix it. Because I guess I'll show, because before the water wasn't working because the blocks weren't complete. Now, see, that first pulse is good, but after that it'll only do like 5 blocks of moss behind it for some reason. And I don't know why. And so for each use of bone meal, it's only producing a couple of moss blocks, which means it's not getting enough to feed itself, let alone produce very much. So I don't know how to fix it. Maybe the timing got messed up when I broke the redstone over here. For now, I don't really want to rebuild this, and I don't have the time to rebuild this. So, the first pulse works perfectly fine. You get plenty. It's just the subsequent ones that don't work, so if I just then do one, and that gets me a bunch. I might try poking and prodding at it, or I'll probably end up rebuilding a couple sections of it, like a couple sections at a time, to see if I can get it back to working order, but for now, I fixed it, sorta. Anyway, mud farm still works, I didn't break this one. And the rest of this thing, I really like how it turns out. I really like the tuff and the green and the jungle wood together. It's a really fun combo. The tuff on the ceiling I think looks really fun. I added the glowberries for lights. Okay, I've got the mostly functional farms. I've got the storage area, which already has lots of moss in it. Some of my bone meal over here, my seeds over here. And then there's a mini storage area back here with a bunch of barrels, so I could put some mud and such. I have the banners and glowberries to bring some color up closer to the ceiling to hopefully go well with the mossy cobble I have mixed in. In this corner, I have a little wheat field for the packed mud. I don't really have a huge wheat field in this world. I am working on one over by my village, which you will probably see once I get around to the Aether Dragon build. But for now, I just have this little guy. Back there isn't really much. It's just kind of some scattered mossy carpets to look cool, and a spot where I can see some of the redstone going, and then if I need to get a higher vantage point, I have this little viewing area where I can gaze upon the moss happening. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. I am glad to see this little section pretty much finished. I'm happy that I now have these farms at my disposal. Even if the moss farm doesn't work super great right now, I do have over 2 full double chests full of moss, so that'll hopefully tide me over long enough to get this sorted out again, however long that takes. Anyway, next up I am thinking that I will be tackling more farms in the other 3 corners of this build, but that will be in a few weeks, because my very next episode will be jumping back over to my Desert City series. So in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. I hope that I can figure out this moss farm, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye!
I'm so graceful. I'm so incredibly graceful. I'm so smart. I'm good at solving problems. Oh, we're doing great. It's fine. There you go.
Oh, it's ringing. I just thought it was fire. Now I'm just afraid that everything is fire.
On fire again.
Why does my mouth get so dry? The mic is so scary. It's terrifying, really. I'm having a great time with this build. I think it's turning out pretty good, and I hope I'm not severely moss-staken. The pun is necessary for my heart, specifically. It's good for the heart.